Why is it that right when your body needs rest the most, your mind decides to open every file you've been carrying since morning? It's 11, it's 1, it's 3 in the morning, and there you are, eyes closed but your head lit up like a room full of screens, replaying a conversation that already ended, a mistake that can't be fixed tonight, a to-do list that keeps growing every time you try to shut it down. Your body is lying down, but you're not really there. You're in tomorrow's meeting, in the reply you never gave, in the money that's missing, in the person who let you down, in the version of yourself you think you should already be, and still aren't. And I want to tell you something before we go any further. What's happening to you has a name, and it has a way out, and you're going to learn both in the next few minutes. Because tonight I'm not here to give you one more sheep counting trick, or another list of tips you've already heard 1,000 times. I'm here to share 7 teachings rooted in Buddhism, turned into something you can use right now, tonight, while you're listening, so you can finally let go of the day and sleep like someone who allows it, not like someone who demands it of themselves. Stay until the midpoint, because that's where a very simple story about a young student and a candle is coming, and it's probably going to change the way you see your own nighttime fear for good. And if any of this reaches you, even just a little, let me know in the comments once you're done listening, even if that's tomorrow morning. Now take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, and let me walk you toward rest. Let's start with something you've probably never framed this way before. Tomorrow doesn't need you to solve it today. It sounds obvious, but you don't live it as obvious. You live as if your mind were obligated to get ahead of things, to anticipate every possible scenario, to already have the perfect answer ready for something that hasn't even happened yet. And so, while your body is stretched out in bed, your attention has already wandered off into a day that doesn't exist yet. Think about this for a moment. Has worrying all night about something ever once changed the outcome? Did the anxiety at 3 in the morning ever improve the 9 o'clock meeting? The truth is, no. All that nighttime vigilance does is leave you more tired, with less clarity, with less patience, right when you need those things the most. Rest isn't the opposite of preparing well for tomorrow. Rest is the preparation. There's a very simple teaching within the Buddhist tradition that says, the mind, just like the body, needs to let go of what it's carrying in order to renew itself. You can't refill a glass that's still full, and your mind, tonight, is still full of today. So the first permission I'm going to ask you to give yourself is this: tomorrow can wait. Not because you don't care, but precisely because you do. And that's exactly why you deserve to arrive at it, rested, instead of dragging the whole night behind you like a sentence. Now that that's clear, I want to talk to you about something you might know all too well. That hazy fear that shows up the moment you turn off the light. It isn't always fear of something specific. Sometimes it's just a feeling, a nameless unease that grows in the dark. One that during the day, with all the noise of your obligations, you didn't even have time to feel. There's a story about a young student who came to his teacher one night, trembling, and confessed that he was terrified of the darkness in his room, that every night he felt like something was watching him from the corners, that the room filled with shadows that hadn't been there before. The teacher didn't tell him to stop being afraid. He didn't tell him to be brave. He simply handed him a small candle and said, "Don't try to fight the darkness. It's bigger than you, and it will always win that fight. Light this instead." The student lit the candle, and in that instant, without any effort, without any struggle, the darkness simply stopped being there. He didn't defeat it. He replaced it with something small, warm, enough. That's exactly what happens with your nighttime thoughts. The harder you try to push them out of your head, the more room they take up. Anxiety isn't beaten by force, it's dissolved by light. And that candle, for you, tonight, can be a slow, conscious breath. It can be remembering something you're grateful for. It can simply be noticing the weight of your body on the mattress, and the air moving in and out of your lungs. You don't need to force your mind into silence. You just need to light something gentler than it. And here I want to pause on something that's rarely said clearly. Much of that darkness you feel at night isn't fear of the future. It's guilt over the past, even if it's the immediate past of just a few hours ago. Go back over your day. There was probably a moment when you answered more harshly than you wanted to, a moment when you didn't have the patience you wish you'd had, a task you left half finished, a word you didn't say in time, a version of yourself you feel didn't measure up. And all of that, together, turns into a weight you carry with you to bed, as if you were trying to float in water while your pockets were full of stones. Nobody floats well with pockets full of stones. And yet, there you are, carrying every mistake of the day, every misplaced word, every unfinished task, somehow hoping that carrying all that weight will make you a better person tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. What actually changes you isn't the punishment you impose on yourself in the dark. It's the permission you give yourself to recognize that you did what you could with what you had in that moment. So before we move on, I'm going to ask you for something. You don't need to say it out loud, but you do need to mean it, even if it's only inside your head. I forgive myself for not being perfect today. I forgive myself for the words I didn't choose well. I forgive myself for what I left unfinished. I did what I could with the energy I had, and tonight, that's enough. Let go of one stone at a time if you need to. No one is asking you to drop them all at once. Just stop gripping them so tightly. And speaking of letting go, I want you to consider something you've probably never been shown this way before. Sleep isn't just a biological function. It is, if you allow it, an almost sacred act. Think of it like this. You have a roof over your head that shields you from the cold and the elements. You have a bed, however simple, holding your body while it rests. You have quiet, or at least the chance to seek it, something a great many people right this very moment don't have. And you have a body that, without you ever consciously asking, has been working all day long, walking, breathing, digesting, keeping your heart beating without rest since the moment you were born. Before closing your eyes, take a moment to be grateful for that. Not automatically, but actually feeling it. Think of 3 good things that happened today, however small they seem. A pleasant conversation, a beam of sunlight through the window, a meal you enjoyed, a laugh that slipped out before you even thought about it. A mind trained to search for what's missing needs, every single night, a reminder of what actually went right. And when you turn that moment of lying down into a small ritual of gratitude, something shifts in the quality of your rest. You're no longer just shutting down like a machine at the end of the day. You're allowing yourself a conscious, gentle, human close to it. Now, here's something I need you to understand with complete clarity, because it can completely change your relationship with your late-night thoughts. Your mind, at this hour, is not a reliable narrator. When the body is exhausted, the brain processes information differently than it does during the day. Problems grow larger. The positive becomes invisible. A manageable difficulty, seen at 3 in the morning, turns into a looming catastrophe. It's almost like looking at your life through a fogged-up window. Everything looks blurry, distorted, more threatening than it really is. How many times have you woken up distressed over something that, in the light of day, turned out to be far smaller than your tired mind had convinced you it was in the dark? That's not a coincidence. It's a well-known feature of an exhausted mind. It exaggerates the danger and minimizes the resources you have to face it. So the next time a frightening thought shows up right before you fall asleep, don't take it as revealed truth. Take it for what it is, the static of a system that needs to power down, not a message you're required to obey. And that brings us straight to something that might be the most freeing thing you'll hear all night. You don't have to fix anything right now. Picture, for a moment, that each of your worries is a physical object you're holding in your hands. The pending project, the uncomfortable conversation you need to have, the decision you don't know how to make, the doubt about the future that won't leave you alone. Now imagine that, one by one, you set those objects down on a small table right beside your bed. You're not throwing them in the trash. You're not pretending they don't exist. You're simply leaving them there, visible, waiting, until morning comes and you have a rested mind to pick them back up. This isn't avoidance, it's strategy. No problem gets solved better at 4 in the morning, with an exhausted body and a mind distorting every detail, than it does at 9 in the morning, with light, energy, and perspective. Putting off a decision until you have clarity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Rest doesn't pull you away from your problems, it hands you back the tools to face them well. And that brings us to the final teaching for tonight, maybe the quietest one of all, but also the most powerful. Every sunrise is, quite literally, a fresh start. It doesn't matter how many times you've felt like you ruined today. It doesn't matter how many words you wish you could take back, how many decisions you wish you could change, how much time you feel you've lost. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, you're going to get another chance. One that doesn't depend on yesterday having been perfect. The sun doesn't ask the night before whether it's earned the right before it rises. It just rises again. For everyone, you included. As long as you keep breathing, you have the chance to try again. To speak more calmly, to work with more focus, to treat yourself with more patience. No night is the end of the story, even when it feels that way. It's only a pause, a space between one chapter and the next. And that pause deserves to be spent resting, not being punished. So, before you keep listening to the quiet of your room, I want to leave you with this. You didn't need to be perfect today to deserve a good night's sleep tonight. You don't need every question in your life answered to let yourself close your eyes in peace. The day is already over. You already did what you could with it, and tomorrow hasn't arrived yet, so there's no point living it in advance from your bed. Leave the stones in your pocket. Leave the objects on the table. Light, even if only in your mind, that small candle, instead of fighting the shadow. Be thankful for the roof, the bed, the body that carried you through today without complaint, and trust that, just as the sun has risen every morning of your life so far, it will rise again tomorrow too, asking nothing of you in return, simply waiting for you to be rested enough to receive it. If tonight you needed to hear this, even just one of these 7 teachings, I'd love for you to tell me in the comments whenever you get a moment, even when you wake up. And if you feel like someone else in your life is carrying the same stones you are, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to keep finding this kind of calm space before bed, so you don't miss the next ones. For now, there's nothing left to solve, nothing left to plan, nothing left to carry. There's only one thing left to do. Let go of the day, be grateful for what you lived, and allow yourself to rest. Good night, and may you wake up tomorrow with a mind lighter than the one you fell asleep with tonight. If you made it to the end of this video, comment, "I'm here," and I'll personally reply to you myself. And if this one resonated with you, subscribe to be part of it, and hit like if you enjoyed it.